Here's the intro, JC.
All right, brother.
Did you get it? What happened to the intro? I didn't see it. I didn't hear it.
You missed it. It happened.
All right. Well, that was a great intro. Really enjoyed it.
You didn't see our intro just play?
No, I didn't.
It happened. It
All
happened.
right. Well,
Amber will confirm it.
You know, welcome everybody to another episode of The Bright Side. I am your host, Howie Craw, Grateful Howie, along with my partner in crime here, Dr. JC Dornick, known as the Dragon.
The Dragon.
The Dragon. You know, before we came on, we were talking about things, and you know, I've been remiss. You know, I always bring up something to do with sports. That you know, Tiger Woods was in a very serious accident yesterday, and recently there was a 2-part series about Tiger's career and his life on HBO, and everybody always roots for a great comeback story, and his story is just filled with peaks and valleys, injuries, triumph, and here is somebody that once again, who made it all the way back, suffered a really bad car accident. There was no foul play involved. It was on a road that dips and people go fast. He went over the thing and he rolled a few times, shattered his leg, his ankle, emergency surgery, and his life is not in danger. But, you know, it was really scary and the world came out. And something that he possesses he's going to have to do it again, and that's persistence. And we're going to have a conversation today about the bright side of being persistent. And JC, I just had to mention that. And for everybody who appreciates a human interest story with I mean, he played in the U.S. Open with a broken leg, and you can't get in the cart. You have to walk it, and he won it. I mean, the story, if you didn't see it, it's really great. So we'll see him probably come back from a place that's really difficult.
Well, first of all, it's a great afternoon to be us. And, you know, this kind of reminds me of the concept. First of all, hey, what's up, Tanya, Joyce, everybody that's joining us.
Hey, congratulations, Tanya. Congratulations.
Yeah. And Liz Palela, all these amazing people selecting the bright side. But you know what's interesting is, you know, we talked a lot about social media last week, and how social media has this tendency of you know, either being a highlight reel or a place where people all, you know, share their woes and they live below the line as victims. And I just, you know, I love those posts when people say prayer warriors, you know, unite. They're the most, you know, prayer warriors unite. Tiger Woods rolled over in his car and all that stuff. So first of all, I'm not heartless, but, you know, I just, in the effort to always seek the bright side, and you know that I practice Buddhism, you know, the Buddhist way, this is what I love about Buddhism, is when something, first of all, I hadn't thought about Tiger Woods in a long time. And when you told me, you know, Howie and Amber always make fun of the Dragon because I never really know what's going on. They said, did you hear what happened? And I said, no, what happened? And they go, come on, you heard what happened. I said, I swear to God, it didn't happen. And as a matter of fact, I just want you to know, Howie, that when you said that you're going to mute yourself on Clubhouse. When you said that would happen, I thought you and Amber said that Hugh Jackman rolled over in his car. And I was like, what? So not only did I not hear about Tiger, I was about to tell everybody that Hugh Jackman was in an accident. But here's my point. You know the book, No Mud, No Lotus, right?
Yes.
So whenever, this is a really, really cool tool that I want to offer everybody as a gift. Yeah, look at Liz. See, poor Liz Palela wouldn't know about this terrible accident if we didn't share it, but I'm going to show you the bright side of it. It's not until I thought of this accident that I realized what an amazing human being and what he's done. So the idea of the no mud, no lotus is that the lotus plant doesn't grow in a beautiful field of flowers. It grows in stinky mud. So anytime we have a prayer warriors post or someone that's really struggling, I always select the bright side by saying, like, if somebody dies, it's a terrible thing. Loss is a terrible thing. But I always ask the person, I say, tell me something amazing about them. Tell me what their legacy was. Because it's not until we experience the mud that we can see the lotus. You can't see the lotus until the mud. As a matter of fact, his greatness and that accident are omnipresent. They're both, the downside, the upside, the bright side, the dark side. They can't exist without one another. Now, I'm not happy that Tiger got into an accident, or Hugh Jackman. And Hugh,
I know I've been accused of having a regional dialect, but how does Tiger Woods become Hugh Jackman? How did that happen?
Well, listen, when Grateful Howie tells me something, just like my chicken, I gotta say again,
Don't bring Chicken's beautiful voice into this. I mean, she's been unbelievable. Her meditations have been incredible. Yeah. And it would be nice to have her on here sometime. Soften the voice, bring the accent, and she could share a little bit about her journey with the meditations.
Well, keep in mind, so we're in our Clubhouse room, and right now we're live on all these channels. But join us in the Clubhouse room on the bright side, and we're going to have a little interaction after. So just go into your Clubhouse app, and you'll see that we're playing it now. But we're going to talk about persistence here. But before, I was just involved in Clubhouse in a very, very, this has nothing to do with the topic, but I just wanted you to know about it. I was just in a Clubhouse room, and the topic was, are you more successful in life single or in a relationship? And I see some people are starting to come into Clubhouse. So Clubhouse, we're going to have the after party. We're live right now on all the social media channels. And it was really an interesting topic. So maybe some other time we'll talk about it. But in the sense of persistence,
that's it for that subject. That's it.
Well, no, that's it. I don't want to get into this conversation because we'll
I understand, but I will tell you that you've been crushing Clubhouse, and I've met some incredible people in there. It's so accessible to meet people that you wouldn't think you could normally meet. So I'm just looking what Karen wrote.
So in any case, what I want to share with you, and the Clubhouse room will open soon. The idea of persistence came from just evaluating people. And how you and I were talking about this person that's in our lives that is full of potential to succeed, but the only thing that's standing in the way of that individual or anybody is follow through. So this is where this conversation stemmed from. So we started to look at different people in lives, and what's interesting is you look at Ray Kroc, for instance.
Great movie, The Founder.
The founder, Michael Keaton. So, but if you look at Ray Kroc says it best. This is what he says. He says the two secrets to being successful are being in the right place at the right time, and second, doing something about it. So if you learn the story about Ray Kroc, he found this franchise called McDonald's that was never going to go anywhere past where it was, and he took it to a whole new realm, right? So what's amazing about that, and just once again, anytime somebody pops into the Clubhouse room, we're in the bright side. We're on all of our social media channels. At the half hour, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, we will jump in there for an interaction. But if you look at that idea, he was the visionary that saw it, and he took it, and he failed, and he failed, and he failed. Look at Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs, this phone, this computer that I'm on, and a lot of things that you don't even know are encompassing your whole life, like we talked about in the last episode. Those things wouldn't even exist if not for persistence. Because if you know the story of Steve Jobs, you're going to hear a story of a guy that failed more than anybody listening.
He got thrown out at Apple. He got fired.
Well, but forget about that. I'm
Oh
talking
yeah,
about
project after project.
before that.
Right.
Fail, 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 fail. So follow through is the secret. That's what
Follow
persistence
through
really
or
is.
persistence.
That's right.
And the bright side of that is you could be rewarded with whatever you want if you stay the course and keep persistent.
Yeah. What I'm going to do now, hold on one second. You go ahead. I'm just managing the Clubhouse room. Because what I'm going to share, what I want to share with everybody here is I want to share a formula that they can actually put into place. But first, I just wanted to unveil the reality that the only thing that's standing in your way, everybody thinks it's talent, right? You know, what's interesting is if you look at the contrast between when I was a kid, or even more so when you were a kid, because we're close.
Is that a jab at me?
Well, listen,
I was one grade ahead of you, and now all of a sudden you're going to make it like it's a generation.
Hey, so people are popping in and out of Clubhouse, but they're seeing that we haven't started it yet. But
right.
If you look at the two words, consistency and competency, this is what our children in the future are struggling with. Is if you look at somebody that is growing up in this world right now, when they fail at something, the new way of approaching failure and handling it is they say, well, I'm not good at it, I'm going to try something else. So they think that it's a competency issue. But what we were taught, and even more so you, and even more so your parents, is if you don't succeed, try again.
Try again, right.
So we've kind of let go of persistency, right? So there's another element of it. I wrote something, I created a Dragon original quote that I want to share, and that I'd love to hear more on what you say about this, because it's very, very relevant, is knowing what you desire, its value, and taking action is the path to success. But being persistent and relentless is the vehicle that you arrive in. So think about that for a second. The first step is everybody's got to know what it is that they want, and they got to know why. You have to have what I call a vision value. You have to see something and you have to put a value to it, because we're value seeking missiles. Human beings don't go after anything without value. So that's the first step. But that doesn't take you there. That just brings you to this place where you can start to see it and appreciate it and value it and maybe desire to fight for it. But it's persistency and consistency and relentlessness and obsessive behavior. That's what Ray Kroc had. That's what Steve Jobs had. That is the vehicle that you will arrive in.
So the way I see that is the vision board, the why. You have it on your wall, whether it's a beach, a house, a car, whatever it is that you desire. And the vehicle that takes you there, and I could see you sitting in a vehicle, that's the persistence. That's the desire. That's the drive. And you got to drive that thing you're sitting in through every wall that gets in front of you, because there's going to be walls. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be failure. Nobody is spared from that. So it comes back to your why has to be so big and your vision so strong that nothing will stop you. And, going back to where we started with Tiger Woods, he has that mindset. He is that guy that wants that next green jacket, or he wants to have 18 majors to tie Jack Nicklaus. He's at 15. And that's his thing. No matter what he has that drive. And that means for him, maybe it's 6 hours a day on a range, hitting golf balls when nobody's around, or lifting weights in a gym, or being on a nutritional program to give him the right body mass. Whatever it is, he's committed to what his vision is. Yep. And if he puts in all that work, man, is it a sunny place. It's really bright.
Here's an interesting thing, because we're talking about persistency, consistency, relentlessness, and intensity. That's another one. And I'll share an interesting formula with you. But think about the person. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but sometimes we talk about people that are a pain in our ass. right? And how we've had these conversations
Oh,
recently.
yeah.
But here's my point.
Don't worry, we're not talking about you.
Yeah, whoever you think we're talking about, we're not talking about you.
No, definitely not.
But here's an interesting thing to look at. I want everybody right now, I'm going to give you permission to think about the person that drives you up a wall. The person that's a pain in your back, person that's a pain in your tushy, and just, call them a flow burglar, just somebody that just always goes out of their way to give you crap. Do you know why they give you so much crap and it has such an impact on you? Because they're persistent. They're persistent. So persistency works on both ends of the spectrum. If you're trying to move forward in life, well, I have a formula for you. But if you're also living in this world where people are giving you crap, and here's another way of looking at it. Persistency is something that you can allow or disallow in your life. If things keep happening to you that you think are setting you back, or people keep giving you crap, right? The perception is that they're being persistent, but you're also persistently allowing them. So long story short, anything we do with persistency is going to happen, good or bad. So I want to share this with you. And this is the conversation I think that is really relevant. So I said before that the first step is to create something, a desired state, something that you want. So let's focus now on moving the ball down the field. We want to move forward, right? And people that are showing up, and people keep coming into the clubhouse and seeing that we haven't gathered the group yet. So we're going to start that in a little bit. We probably should start the after the bright side. So the first thing is we got to create our what and our why, our vision, value. And when you create that desired state and you look at it and it's got value to it, the degree to which you want that, and that's why you got to put value. Like for instance, when I go after something and I connect it to my kids, like when I lost my 80 pounds or I go after business, I didn't do it for me because I don't do things for myself. I did it for my kids. So what that does is that it creates urgency. Now, urgency is the fertile ground upon which this process starts. So once you have urgency, so I want to question everybody. Think about what you want right now and ask yourself, what is the urgency that you have to have it? Because some people want things, but there's a big difference between wanting and needing, right? So you increase urgency when you go from a want to a need. And when you move from a need to a must-have, which is why I tie my kids into it, now you have urgency, and that's that fertile ground. So here's the formula. And if you're listening to this, I would write this down. Urgency creates intensity plus frequency and persistency. So intensity, frequency, and persistency are created in the field of urgency. But when you practice intensity, frequency, because you can't just be persistent, you also have to be consistent and use frequency. Intensity, frequency, and persistency, what that equals is an acceleration towards your desired state. Now, what's interesting is that I'm not saying practice, because we talk about this all the time. I'm not saying that intensity and frequency and persistency give you the win. What they do is they propel you forward. So we have to also throw in there the realistic patience that's involved in the have, right? But intensity, frequency, and persistency accelerate us to our desired state. And when you're accelerating yourself towards your desired state, it begins to decrease the duration, and it also increases the resolution, meaning it increases and leverages us towards our desired state. So what does all this mean? Is if you claim that you want something, first of all, what's the urgency that you have to have it?
Can I tell you what I'm thinking about as you're saying this?
Sure.
It really resonates with me. I'm a long distance runner. I've done marathons and triathlons. And when I don't have that goal of signing up for a marathon or a triathlon, I work out, I run or whatever. But as soon as I commit to one of those events, a training schedule goes up, and it cannot what's the word? I'm so true to it that nothing's going to take me away from following the plan. There's urgency, there's consistency, and there's so much energy towards getting to my goal that nothing can stop me, because I know I have a date, I know I have an event, and I know I want to see the finish line. So that resonated with me as I heard you say that. It propels you when you have that goal to push yourself because you want it that bad.
Yeah. Well, we never, Henry Ford is my favorite quote. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. But, that science is what we call structural tension. And that comes from the work from Robert Fritz. The book is called The Path of Least Resistance. And that's how you propel yourself forward. But let's bring it home right now. What does this have to do with the bright side? And it was perfect that we started off with that story. I don't know why we started off with that story about Tiger Woods. I was just going with the flow, but now I know why. And that's what I love about this conversation, is we figure it out as you go. So what does this have to do with the bright side? Well, what you can see is that God has mysteriously made everything that we desire sit on the other side of a pile of poop, A. And the other thing that you realize is that the obstacle is the way. You will never look at the Steve Jobs story, look at the Ray Kroc story. All you can see is that they had nothing but challenges and obstacles, and everything showed them that if they were going to move forward, of course they were going to have to be persistent, but they were going to have to commit to doing something no matter what. I was talking to my kids about Elon Musk the other day, and they have this impression that Elon Musk came out successful. No. When Elon Musk was interviewed, and somebody inferred that they wished that they were him. He goes, "You don't wish that you were me." He goes, "I'm sleeping in my office tonight. I'm a workaholic." But here's the bright side. The bright side is that this formula, everybody understands this formula. Everybody knows that we need to fight and fight and fight and do the hard work and the hard work. And we have to be persistent, consistent, and relentless to get our goal, right? But if not for obstacles, persistency wouldn't even exist. Just imagine if you looked forward and there was smooth sailing towards your goal. First of all, it would diminish the value of the goal, and you would not reach your goal because it wouldn't be valuable anymore. If there were no obstacles between you and your goal, you actually wouldn't even try to get it, because you would just assume it was going to come to you and you'd be like, big whoop, right? No mud, no lotus. So if you look at it that way, here's the bright side. If anybody's decided what it is that they want, and they're waking up repetitively seeing that there's something or someone standing in the way, well, you are very, very fortunate. Because when you can see the obstacle, most of the time we're unconscious to the obstacle. When you can see the obstacle standing in between you and your goal, that's the direction that you need to go. And that is the playing field upon which you're going to practice consistency and persistency and that relentless behavior. Folks coming into Clubhouse, we're going to start in 6 minutes in there. But you feel me?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we learn so much with mistakes at the bottom. We learn. Hopefully we learn from them and we don't repeat them over and over. But that's the obstacle is the way.
Right.
And there isn't one successful entrepreneur. I mean, on my podcast, How We Doing It, it's all about resilience. And we talk to business leaders, athletes, journalists, whatever. They all have a story when it all crapped out and what they did to resurrect and get to their goal. They just wanted it that bad. So in agreeing with you, the bright side is that there is an obstacle, is that you're going to learn from that, and you could then move forward towards your goal. So don't look at it as the dark side. It's a gift.
That's right.
Nice.
So very, very, very relevant topic. I love it. We're gonna be moving into the Clubhouse soon. But I just think that this is something, it's interesting. I think this is another one of those topics that everybody resonates with, but there's another side to this. I'm going to go to the dark side here for a second. On the bright side. There's another side to this where you get to this place where you understand it and you go, all right, here we are once again. I totally get it. I can actually succeed at anything that I want. Anything, right? But a month goes by and you still don't have it. So now you actually know the formula for success. Everybody listening to this right now can actually pinpoint and say, I need to increase, I need to up the ante. I need to increase the urgency of my goal. That's step one. And then I have to go after it no matter what. And I already know that the obstacles are going to present themselves, which give me the whole playground and the arena for practicing urgency. Like if you're working hard and fighting through something, that's a good thing. That means you're on your way. So what happens tomorrow morning where that obstacle happens and you're tired, maybe it's going to the gym, or maybe it's following a health program, or maybe it's going after a business and doing all the hard stuff and being persistent with it. If you find yourself not doing it, right now, you see, you have all the answers, you know exactly what to do, but you still look at it and you find yourself for some reason still not doing it. You skipped the step of creating the urgency. You skip the step of creating urgency. My favorite example of this is I take your head, I push it underwater. You can't breathe.
I want air.
You want air so bad. So that's called urgency. What are you going to not do to get the air? Nothing. You're going to do everything
you can do, or the game's over.
That's how you catch yourself. If you're in a pattern right now where you claim that there's this goal to make more money, be happier, be healthier, whatever it is, you're going to need to do a lot of hard work to get it. If you find yourself not doing that hard work, listen, it's super easy to fail in life. Anybody can fail.
Anybody can fail.
But few people succeed. And the people that succeed
are the people who fail over and over and have a want.
And why are they okay with failing? Because the prize at the other side is so good. So my suggestion to everybody, so what we just figured out is urgency is the key. That's the key recipe to it. Practicing when urgency is high enough, things like persistency they're easy, right?
Yeah.
So really, really focus on it. And if you can't figure it out, one of the exercises I recommend that you do is draw this goal that you have in this future state, draw it out, and then draw a circle around it and connect that goal and its value to everything that matters most, your family, your religion, everything. Because once you create that urgency, nothing will stop you. Once your goal is as important to you as breathing, nothing will stop you. Okay? So I said, Howie just ran out of the room. So what we're going to do is we're going to move into the Clubhouse room now from our live show. And we'd love to have other people show up. I see that some people are saying on the live show on social media that they can't get in. Just go open up your Clubhouse app. And what you're going to do is you're going to look up Make Sense. That's my handle on Clubhouse. And just get in there. And you should see that the Bright Side After Party show is there. And we're going to hopefully meet some of you guys in there and we'll interact. Howie, any final words?
Yeah, I do. Something you said too, that sometimes in your pursuit of being persistent, you're letting people in that are persistent, that are negative or not aligned with you. So it's important that you have boundaries. Just because you're persistent, that doesn't mean that you could allow the negativity to come into your positive space. So right. Boundaries are very, very important. And it's a great subject that we can talk about and take it into the Clubhouse.
Let's do the Clubhouse.
Come on in. I saw that Liz said she can't get in the Clubhouse. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, people are starting to come in now. We'll move the conversation over there to just kind of like create a little bit of a chat on the topic of persistence. But Howie, this was an organic one. It was a good one.
Yeah.
We'll go in there and we'll chat more about it live. But always like hanging out on the bright side with you, my friend.
It's always a great place to be. I enjoy it. Thanks. Amber, thank you as always for behind the scenes. And we'll see you in the clubhouse.
Take care.